Morning people, how are we all today? Hope we're all good. Right, today's talk, we're going to talk about this country and the double legal lawful system that we've been forced into. Okay, a lot of people are like me and they're sort of thinking to themselves, how can you enforce a law when nobody's had any harm done to them? How can companies enforce law when they're businesses? Okay, class example, the TV licence. If you don't pay your TV licence, you could face a fine up to £100 or you could be imprisoned. Okay, the moon could fall out of the sky and land on your head, but it doesn't. Okay, how they get away with this is they use very clever words, but they've set up a dual system. Okay, we have what we call common law, which is the law of the land, and then we have what we call legislative enactment. Okay, so the common law of the land is a simple law, yeah, and it's what most people live by, the simple principles of don't cause loss, don't cause harm, don't cause suffering, don't bear false witness, as it says in the Ten Commandments, the last commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness. That's next to God, apparently, if you believe in God. Okay, but as long as you don't cause harm, suffering or loss, or lie to benefit yourself and somebody else to lose, we've not really committed any crime towards anybody. We've not got a victim. So how can a company like the BBC enforce a law? That's like me buying a shoe shop, okay, setting a shoe shop up and telling you, if you don't come and buy my fucking shoes, I'm going to send you to prison. Because I'm a company, just like the British Broadcasting Corporation. They're a corporation. They can't enforce law, but they're clever and they use very clever words. Okay, so how they've done it and how they can get away with it is they use fear. Fear is a tactic to sort of get at people, and it works 9 times out of 10. And then you get the odd arsehole like me that says, I ain't dealing with this now, you ain't bullying me, you're putting me in a place of stress now, threatening me, yeah? So how it works is this country that we live in is a company. It isn't a country anymore. We don't have countries. We just have companies, okay? Now, if you go onto Companies House, I think you'll find under United Kingdom Corporation Limited, that's a registered company. David Cameron Limited is a registered company, okay? We don't have prime ministers and presidents anymore. We have company directors, okay? Like any company, they have rules, okay? So you go to work and you're not allowed to smoke in the building because that's a rule, okay? And because you work for that company, you accept it because it's their terms and agreement, and you've gone to work for that company and accepted that, okay? The same applies for the United Kingdom Corporation, okay? It has policies. We have politicians, okay, that make these policies. We have policy enforcers, police officers that enforce these policies. So how they get away with it is by consent and by getting you to contract with them without you knowing that you're entering into a verbal contract of agreement. Okay, so let me give you an example. When you're born, your parents register you to the state. Okay, so what that means is that your parents have basically given up their natural God-given rights to bring you up as their child, as you know, their son or daughter, and obviously them being your natural God-given parents, and they're giving that power to the state. They are then becoming guardians of that child. Okay, like any company, we have policies, and the government has these policies. Okay, when you get to 16, you get your company employment roll number, and we know this as our national insurance number. So when we're born, the government works out roughly how much money you will be worth in taxes for your lifespan, up to the age of 65, I think it is now. And then they go to the Bank of England with their hands out and say, can we have XYZ? And the Bank of England say, yes, you can, with interest, and that's what we pay back. So the taxes that we actually pay back don't go on the NHS, they don't go on roads, they don't go on schools, they don't go on infrastructure, they don't go on education, they basically go to the bank. Then what the bank does, the bank lends the government, the company, United Kingdom Corporation, money with interest, and that's what we're paying off. Okay, so we have this standard, this double system, not standard, sorry, whereby people think that that's just the way it is and that's the law. The Queen bought out the births, or put through the Births and Registry Act in 1953, the year she got inaugurated, and that's when all this shit really started becoming in their control. Because to register your birth, you then have a status. Okay, that's how they can inform statutes on you. Statute, status. Okay, your status is Mr. Paul Smith, for example. Okay, no, you're not. You're Paul from the Smith family. Mr. Paul Smith is a corporate entity belonging to the Crown. Have a look on your birth certificate, property of the Crown. And it also says, this is where the fraud really kicks in. It also says you cannot use this birth certificate as proof of ID. How many people ask you, have you got a birth certificate? You use your birth certificate to get your passport, to get ID. So we're committing fraud there, straight away. Now, by you admitting that your name is Mr. Paul Smith, you're admitting to be part of this company. And because you're admitting to be part of this company, they can enforce their company rules, policies upon you. Okay, so when you're driving, and the copper says to you, and he pulls you over, he says, you know, can I just take your name? My name is Mr. Paul Smith. And did you know that you were driving at 60 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone? You've already contracted him. You've already told him, my name is Mr. Paul Smith. I've signed that licence to say my name is Mr. Paul Smith and I agree to your rules. So you're admitting to being part of their company. So he can bomb you, he can do whatever he wants to you because you've already agreed. You've contracted with him. Okay? You're Paul from the Smith family. Some people will get their heads around this, some people won't. Some people know what I'm talking about. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have countries anymore, we have companies. And it's the banks that have done this to us, okay? The banks are printing money out of thin air, okay? And then they're charging us interest on it. They're not even giving us the money. The money's not even backed by gold. The gold, your money used to be redeemable for gold. So on the old money, it used to say, money is redeemable. I can't remember the exact words, it was a long time since I looked at it, but it was basically saying that you could take this credit note back to the bank and then get your gold. Okay, so how it would work is I'm a butcher and you want to borrow some meat or you want to buy some meat, so you give me this credit note and I go back to the bank and cash it in and get me gold. Okay, then the banks went, oh, hang on a minute, and started just printing these credit notes out anyway. So that's fraud there anyway. If you actually know how the banking system works, people, it'd crash overnight, I promise you that, because it's a massive fraudulent thing that we're having over. That's another talk for another day. Okay, back to the company and the double system that we have. Okay, so we have these policies, and to enforce these policies we have statutes. Again, if you are confirming that your status is Mr. Paul Smith, you apply to this statute. Okay, however, it gets more interesting because the definition of a statute under Black's Law Dictionary is a legislative rule of society that carries the force of law when given consent by the governed, i.e. you being the governed. If you vote, you're the governed. If you don't vote, you're saying, I don't want to be governed. Thank you very much. Okay, that's how they can enforce statutes on you. Okay, they'll get you to consent. Okay, I don't know if anybody's ever been to court and been fined, and they'll say to you, right, Mr. Smith, we're going to fine you £150, is that okay? And because you're in court, you're terrified, you think you're going to go to prison, or you're going to, you know, it's a scary situation to be in if you've never been to court. You agree, you've consented. Okay, so they've got you by the balls. So if you don't pay that money because you've agreed to pay it, and under their rules of their company, they can imprison you for not abiding by their rules. But because you've agreed to pay it, you're abiding by their rules. So we have this double system, and it is corrupt, and those at the top know about it. Okay, and then it goes all the way down to the courts. Okay, the courts are corporate courts. They are not courts that are there to serve and protect people. They're there to extort money out of people. Okay, they earn their money this way. The solicitors know how it works. That's why the solicitors always plead to fine you if you're working. If you're not working, how are we going to get us money? Well, the taxpayer's going to have to pay for it, so we'll send him to prison and the taxpayer can pay for it. So they still get the money either way. But if they can fine you, and you still go to work and still pay taxes, they'd rather do that because that's more beneficial, that's more lucrative to them. They don't want to send you to prison. Yeah. However, saying that, the prisons are now Group 4, so they're not even national prisons, they're private businesses. And I'm led to believe that we have to send so many people to these prisons. If we don't, we have to compensate Group 4 as a company for not offering them the products or services that we've promised them. Okay, so in other words, the more prisoners that we've got, the more money Group 4 earn, that are sat in a bed with all the other companies and conglomerates that run this fucking shithole of a planet that we're living on. But if we haven't got enough prisoners, the taxpayer's still paying for it, because the government say, well, we have to compensate you because we've not locked enough people up. They're locking people up for the most stupidest of horrendous, hideous crimes. Okay, not paying your council tax. Okay, not paying off a bill. Okay, how can they take you to prison for something that is a promissory note? I promise to pay the bearer the sum of. I can write a promissory note out and give it to you, and that is just as good as money. As it's worth more probably than what this piece of shit is that we're getting. Okay, so the moral of the story is these people get you to contract with them. They're very clever. They've had lots of practice and they've had lots of experience, and they've got it right. Okay, do a contract. You lose the name, you win the game. Okay, do not contract with these people. If they ask for your name is Paul of the Smith family. No, my name isn't Mr. Paul Smith. That belongs to the Crown. That isn't mine. That property belongs to the Crown. If you have a problem with Mr. Paul Smith, you go speak to the Crown, because that's their property. Okay, if you end up in court, that's their property. Mr. Paul Smith is the property of the Crown. The court's not even real anyway. That's why you have two courts. We have a magistrate courts, which are the priests. They're not even proper magistrates, not even judges, the priests. That's why you have a district judge who is a judge. So these are not even priests. These guys work directly for the Pope. Okay. People's mandates are a very good thing to look into as well. And that's covering a lot of momentum as well, and that's protecting people. But the top and bottom of it, the government should protect property and it should protect people, but it's not doing that. Okay, it's extorting money off people, and it's taking property off people, and it's backing the banks up that do this. The banks own the government. Okay, it's as simple as that. Like it or lump it, yeah. Do your research, find the fuck out. I'm telling the truth. The banks own the government. Okay. The banks own the planet. That's why they're going around the planet wanting to put democracies in and financial systems. Okay, look at Iraq. They've just got a Rothschild central bank put in there now, and they have to pay taxes, unfortunately. Poor Iraqis, because it used to be a fantastic country, all rich. And Saddam is saying, if he did allegedly kill his own people, it's with weapons that we gave him to do so we could come back at a later day and say, oh, look, he's killing his own people, let's go get him, he's a madman. No, we're after his oil, and we're after the money, and we're after the banking system there. And obviously the companies like Halliburton and companies like that are going in and rebuilding it all, so they're raping it as well. Not even the Iraqi people are benefiting from it. You know, if you destroy a country, the Iraqis should build it up and they should benefit from the proceeds and the profits. They're not even doing that. So I'm going to cut this short. I say cut it short. I've been going now for 12.5 minutes, 13 minutes. However, I would sort of implore you guys to have a look at how this country is run, and you realise that we're a company. Statutes are policies that can only be enforced when consented by the governed. Okay, you have to agree to this shit, and if you don't agree to it, yeah, they can't do anything, and they know this, yeah. And a lot of people are waking up to this. You know, all you have to do is go on Facebook, go on the internet, go on YouTube, and a lot of people are starting to fight back. It's about time, yeah. How can a company enforce law upon you? It cannot. Yeah, it can enforce legal statutes on you, legislative enactments, if you agree to it. Of course it can, because you're saying I'm part of your company. I'm part of the rules and procedures that you want to... That's me, yeah, come and do it. Okay, we need to wake up. Again, the moral of the story is, lose the name, win the game. If you've got anybody that's pursuing you for money, drop me a line, drop me something on Facebook, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. We need to wake up to this. People are people. Yeah, we should all be getting on, and it's the elite, the elect few that have got the market boxed off, that own all the companies, okay, that are bumming us, simply. So it leaves me to say, namaste people, sleep well, be safe, and I'll see you next time.